Hi everybody, this is Ravi Nallapreddy from Precision Academy. Today I am going to cover three important British Acts: 1773 Regulation Act, 1784 Pitt's India Act, 1793 Charter Act. These acts are important mainly for prelims purpose of civils and group 1 and other competitive exams, even for understanding modern India, how British controlled the company and through company entire India. So that part we can understand in this particular video. From mains perspective, I will give some questions here. First question: the main purpose of regulating acts was to absorb wealth from the banks of Ganges and deposit it on the banks of Thames. Evaluate. Second question: the present Indian Constitution is an amalgamation of various British provisions and acts introduced in the previous 2 centuries. Narrate the evolution of various British legislations right from 1773 until 1947 and critically comment on their influence on the present constitution. Third question: what were key features of Pitt's India Act of 1784? Fourth question: outline the provisions of Regulating Act 1773 and Charter Act 1793. So, 1773 Regulating Act. Let us go to the background of it, like why it was enacted. It was an act of Parliament of Great Britain to regulate the company. So, the name itself says Regulation Act, Regulating Act. Purpose is to regulate the company. Easy to remember. The company paid 4 lakh pounds, so which is equal to 46 million pounds now. So, 4 lakh pounds annually to the government to maintain the monopoly. So, this is how British government was to get money from India. So, it was a one way movement. India is here, British is here. So, British used to get 4 lakh pounds from the company. So, it is like auction for a particular income generating activity. So, this company has to pay a fixed amount and then get whatever money from India operations. But it was not able to meet the commitments. This 4 lakh pounds company is not able to meet. Since 1768, so this is 1773 Act. That means for the past 5 years, they are not able to pay this 4 lakhs fully because the loss of tea sales to America. So, they were having tea gardens here. We were wondering why we have so much of land allocated to tea. So, they were selling it to America. There they were making big money, but for some years they are not making that money there. So, they had lot of stocks in their warehouses in London. So, for that there was another act, 1773 Tea Act, to reduce London warehouses. So, and also they have other issues with the company. There was chaotic situation because of misgovernment of Bengal. So, they misgoverned Bengal, the company misgoverned Bengal. So, there was chaotic situation there. Gross malpractices of senior officials of the company senior officials were indulging in malpractices. Company was also facing a financial crisis. So, they applied for 1.5 million pounds of loan from the government. So, if we go to get loan from World Bank, IMF, they impose some conditions. Same way this British government started taking control of the company. So, what are the provisions in this 1773 Act? They imposed cap on the dividend 6%. So, the logic was you are supposed to pay, you are taking $1.5 million from us, you have to pay back. So, before you pay back, you can't take too much of dividends. So, first pay us and then take dividends. So, the debtors and creditors. So, those who gave the money, so they have primacy on the income of the company. That is why they said you can have only 6%, and restricted court of directors term to 4 years. Only 4 years you can be in office. If you are in office for prolonged periods, you will indulge in malpractices. So, they reduce the term. So, they have started controlling the company. Servants of company, it prohibited servants of company from engaging in any private trade, accepting presents or bribes from natives. So, that way they want to increase the income to the company, so that they can pay their loan back, or fixed 4 lakh pounds yearly which they have to pay. These two things they are interested in. That is why they started controlling. Some more provisions are centralization. The act elevated Governor of Bengal, Warren Hastings, to Governor General of Bengal. So, it used to be Bengal, Madras, Bombay. Now, it is same, but this person Bengal, Governor of Bengal, is now called as Governor General of Bengal. So, he will have some supervisory role over other. So, that is the first step in the centralization of British India. And then Executive Council of 4 to assist him. Actually, they call assistants, but they never trust a single person. So, that is the difference between the emperors in India and Britain. So, they can't trust single person. Here the kings used to keep somebody in charge of some province or some land, some parts of India. So, for example, Mughals are there, they give it to somebody here. Vijayanagara they give to Vishwanath Nayaka or some other person or some. So, after some time they may revolt. That was what happening. So, when king is weak, these people used to revolt. Feudatories, they used to revolt. But here, to avoid that, what they did was they kept Governor General in a council. They always reduce the powers of a single person, make it system driven. That is the difference. That is why they do not have this kind of declaration of independence, and also they keep changing. So, they said only 4 years directors can be in office. So, they keep changing them, and also they will keep them in a group of people and divide the powers. So, that is how they control. So, that was the major reason why there were less revolts within the system in British when compared to the previous dynasties in India. So, you can see any dynasty. So, new dynasties coming means they were the feudatories of old dynasty. So, nobody can come from people, common public. So, new king will be feudatory of some other, but here they reduce that chance. They keep changing them. So, there is no forever permanency of that particular governor, or his son will not become a governor. So, those were the changes British have brought in. And then coming to they started Supreme Court. 1773 Act is primitive. is giving everything in a primitive form. So, Supreme Court also got started there. It was established at Fort William at Calcutta. British judges were sent from Great Britain. So, 1774 it was established, that means it took 1 year to establish, with one Chief Justice, 3 other judges. That was for entire India, they had one Chief Justice and 3 judges. So, these two are the important people relating to 1773 Act. Lord North, he was the Prime Minister of Great Britain, and then Warren Hastings, first Governor General of Bengal. There were some issues with it, the 1773 Act. So, the regulation part was not really working. Control of the British government over the company remained vague. Who will control if they deviate, or who will manage from the side of British, that part was missing. When we come to judiciary, which law to follow, that was an issue, English or British, English or Indian. So, this code has sentenced to death an ex-Diwan of Mushirabad, Maharaja Nandakumar, a Brahmin by caste. So, which was charged with committing forgery. So, he was charged with committing forgery, but he was sentenced to death. In India, Brahmin could not be sentenced to death for such an offence. So, you can take even Aswathama case in Mahabharata. He tried to kill the children of Pandavas, so that he want to make it Apandaveya, so that no Pandavas will remain. But one person, Abhimanyu's son, was saved by Krishna, but when Arjuna wanted to kill him, Krishna says you cannot kill because he is a Brahmin. So, that was the story. So, from then onwards we can see innumerable examples where Brahmins cannot be given death sentence. Brahma Hatya, that was not allowed. But they were not aware of, or they had their own laws, they were applying laws which are very same for everybody, and then there was an issue. So, something like that regulating act, basically their issue was not this judiciary thing, I am just giving an example other areas where it had issues. Regulation was missing from British, and then came Pitt's India Act. So, every 20 years we were having acts, but this is the one which is an exception, because regulation is not happening properly. Pitt's India Act has come into picture. So, who brought it? William Pitt, Prime Minister of Great Britain. This is the person, William Pitt. That is why the name. The objective of the act was to remove the drawbacks of the regulating act and make the administration of the company's Indian territories effective and responsible. So, they wanted to have better control, that is why they brought it. This is called dual government. So, double government. So, a government is there, like company is managing, at the same time company is managed by directors as well as a British government. That is why the country is also managed by two separate parts of the company. Pitt's India Act 1784 provisions. So, they had privy councillors, 6 privy councillors. There was a provision for 6 privy councillors, including the Secretary of State. So, this is going to be very important post in Britain from then onwards. So, a Chancellor of the Exchequer, it is like a finance minister kind of, and to be appointed commissioners for the affairs of India. So, these are the people, 6 people who will be commissioned to take care of the affairs of India. Of this, not fewer than 3 formed the board to execute powers. So, this is called board of control, which started exercising control on the company. So, this is British government. So, government, and then they have board of control. This is just to control the company. This is the company. So, this is the board of control. The board was presided over by the president. So, who is the president? He became the Minister of the Affairs of East India Company. This board of control had a president. That president has become Secretary of State, that is Minister for managing East India Company. So, this president will be supported by Chief Secretary. So, he will have a secretary. This is the system they established. You can see whenever British make changes, they make changes in the system. That system survived. That system served their purpose. And a board controlled the acts and operations relating to civil, military and revenue of the company. So, they took over civil, military and revenue parts of the company. Why it is called dual government? The company continued to have the monopoly of trade. So, the trade part company will take care of, and the rights to appoint and dismiss own officials. So, company will have officials, they will have control on them. So, they can appoint, they can dismiss. That is what company can do. A system of dual government of British India has happened now, like civil, military and revenue matters of the company. So, once they have money, what to do with that money, that British will look into, and then civil and military affairs. So, that company cannot decide whether to wage a war or like whom to appoint for military roles, that British will take care. So, company was set up, dual government of Bengal was introduced. So, here you have to differentiate between other forms of dual governments. So, there was a dual government in Bengal. So, Robert Clive introduced in 1765, because there will be the Bengal Nawab, but all the powers British used to remotely control them. So, they used to have some powers, Bengal Nawab has to have had some powers, that is called dual government in Bengal, that was 1765. Here what we are talking is dual government in the company. So, there was diarchy in Government of India Act 1919, that means so British appointed administrators will be there in the government, provincial government, and also elected. So, so governor will be there, and then elected representatives from India, that is called diarchy. So, these three you have to differentiate. Pitt's India Act, some other provisions, governing council of company. It was reduced to 3 members. Governor General was given the power to overrule his council. So, Governor General got more powers now. So, council is still there, they reduced it to 3 and then increased the powers of Governor General. So, when we come to provinces, the governors of Bombay and Madras were deprived of their independence. So, Governor General was given greater powers in matters of war, revenue, diplomacy. Now, there is more clarity, it is not just namesake. Governor General of Bengal, he will have some control on the affairs of other 2 governors. And then let us go to Charter Act 1793. So, this why it was every 20 years they have to renew, otherwise the company's tenure will expire, that was the main reason. So, there was not much change in the basic governance of the company. So, whatever happened in 1784, it survived till almost 1858. So, that structure remained same. More and more powers British used to take, but the overall system remained the same. So, they extended by 20 years the monopoly of trade, and then for when it comes to provinces, the realm of governance of Governor General increased over Bombay and Madras. So, slowly more powers. So, British never did anything abruptly. They used to do it very slowly, like they name the Governor General as Governor of Bengal as Governor General of Bengal, and then give some powers, so supervisory powers, and then give more powers. So, that is how slowly they started centralizing, and then there was a code developed, like regular code of all regulations that could be enacted for the internal government of British territory in Bengal. So, that a regular code was developed. It was applied to the rights, persons and property of the Indian people. So, they needed some kind of regulating acts. And then a dividend. So, they were allowed to have 10%. Now, they are making some money, British are getting their portion. So, they increased the from 6% to 10%, and then salaries of the staff are also now charged to the company. So, what they did, whatever expenses they have for controlling the company, in the British Board of Control, all those expenses were charged to company. So, when we come to privileges, East India Company was empowered to grant privileges to trade in India, which paved the way for shipments of opium to China. Now, we will compare these three acts. When we compare, you will have better clarity. You will understand what, so you can have a base and then how it incrementally goes on, and also when you compare, you know what it is and what it is not, how it is different from the other act. So, it helps you to remember better and also get better analysis. So, when it comes to extension, 73 Act gave trade monopoly for 20 years, and then Pitt's India Act did not talk about it, and this is 73 Act, this is 84, this is 93. So, here 20 years, here there is no need because 20 years are not expired, again here extended. So, when it comes to dividend, it is 6% till they repay 1.5 million loan. Here they increased it to allowed up to 10%. Servants of the company, they are prohibited from engaging in any private trade or accepting presents, that remained the same. And then court of directors, term restricted to 4 years, so it is same. And then board of control. So, this is the one on top of court of directors, 6 privy councillors and 4 in board of control. So, that is what this is the biggest new thing that has come in, new organ to control the company. So, we will see. So, that was about the previous slide was about the features relating to the company. Now, I will talk about the features relating to the country, management of the country. So, you have to differentiate. So, there were some features for company, some features for the country. That is how you have to group it, then you will have better clarity. Centralization, how they did centralization? Governor of Bengal has become Governor General of Bengal, and then in 74 from 84, Governor of Bombay and Madras deprived of their independence. So, it has increased centralization, and then the realm of Governor General increase. So, centralization is increasing and increasing. It goes on in the same direction, more and more centralization. So, the executive. So, there is a council of 4 to assist Governor General. So, slowly we are getting into the executive and that means cabinet, which is the executive, and the legislature, that will evolve. Initially 4 people, so that it is not a one man show. That is how they developed it. There was not much progress in that direction in these 2 other acts. So, when it comes to judiciary, they started in 73. So, 1 chief justice, 3 judges, and then so they started regulations that could be enacted for Bengal, and then that was the starting of like some kind. So, these judges have to have some basis to give their judgments. That is how it is. This is the comparison of different acts, and so we are grouping into company affairs and the India affairs. So, for the purpose of better understanding, analysis and remembrance. And then I will ask you 3 questions, hope you will be able to answer. Which of the following act led to the introduction of dual system of government in India? Pitt's India Act, Regulation Act, Regulating Act, Charter Act 93, Charter Act 1830. So, I told you, so main purpose of Pitt's India Act is to have better control. That is why they had their own members, and then company had their own members, and then their affairs are different. So, the dual system of government. Which of the following act ensured the establishment of Supreme Court in India? Regulating Act, Pitt's India Act, Charter Act 93-13. So, Regulating Act. So, the first important act. Conclude this with a quotation. This was given by John Sullivan, President of the Board of Revenue, Madras. So, our system acts very much like a sponge, drawing up all the good things from the banks of Ganges and squeezing them down on the banks of the Thames. So, this is their intent. You should be really clear about the intent of British. Most of the people, they fail to understand this intent of the British. They think British are good people. They came here to help us, but they came here to suck the wealth from India and take it to Britain. That was their real intent. With this, I conclude this session. Thanks for joining. We will join again for understanding some more acts. Till such time, bye bye.